have embraced the purple lipstick. I am now one with the purple lipstick. I think this is going to be me from now until, you know, I get a bee in my bonnet. Anyway. Hey guys, what's up? It's Natasha and welcome back to this week's video. Today, I'm going to list my favorite books of 2021. Before we get started, please remember to like and subscribe, and also click the notification button next to the subscribe button if you want to be notified once my videos are uploaded. And without any further ado, let's get on with the video. So because these books mostly consist of series, I am going to put my favorite books as an image right here because I don't want to take them out of my bookcase at this moment. I just don't feel like it. It's too hot to rearrange them back and nah, okay. Book number 1 is The Night Circus. This is written by Erin Morgenstern, and The Night Circus is about, obviously, a circus that only pops up at night. And no one knows how it arrives, no one knows how it leaves, but there's some sort of magic connected to it. And this is one of my favorite books because it was such a strange book to read. I did not realize they were jumping in times until I actually read the chapters' names, but how the different jump in times actually connect with each other, the magic involved, the world building involved. This was just an amazing book. I cannot explain to you how amazing this book is, and I think you should just pick it up. I gave it a 5 stars because it was just amazing. I'm going to carry this book with me until I die. It is chef's kiss. The next book that also made my list is, of course, a series, and it's a series that I think will forever be a lot of people's favorites, and it is the Hunger Games trilogy. I don't have to explain to you what Hunger Games is about. Everyone knows it. Everyone has either seen the movies or has read the books. I almost said written the books. So if you don't know what the Hunger Games is, I'm concerned. Slightly. Just a little. Following up on that, The Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes also got a 5-star out of me. I don't know if it is because of the fact that we follow President Snow and how Suzanne Collins actually writes why he is the way he is. I quite enjoyed that perspective, even though I know a lot of people say it wasn't needed. We all knew he was a bad guy, but I quite enjoyed the book of showing how he was brought up, why he was such a crazy person, and just, I think it was an insight from Suzanne Collins. Is it Susan or Suzanne? I'm guessing it's Suzanne. Sorry if I'm butchering her name. But I think it was just an insight from Suzanne Collins' perspective, because if you remember in Catching Fire, someone said the 10th Hunger Games, all the footage was deleted. And we go back and we see that President Snow was like a mentor in the 10th Hunger Games. So what this just entails is capital children are seen as mentors for the tributes that come in from the districts. But what is different from President Snow's Hunger Games from Katniss's Hunger Games is in President Snow's era of the Hunger Games, there was no, I'm going to mentor you, I'm going to build a relationship with you. It was basically like, I'm filling in papers just for filing's sake, basically. And how he built a relationship with one of these tributes, such an amazing relationship, and you know by the end this relationship is not going to go well because he's President Snow, he's the villain. And I don't know, it was just an amazing read for me. The next books are the A Court of Thorns and Roses series from Sarah J. Maas. The first book I gave a 3 out of 5. Mostly because I didn't enjoy the first book as much as I thought it would. It could have been a standalone, but I knew it was a build-up for the series. The first book is kind of like a Beauty and Beast reimagined. So I didn't get as much of satisfaction out of the first book. But when I moved on to A Court of Mist and Fury, I delved into these books head deep, and I got so immersed in the series and immersed in the world building, the characters. Rhys and Feyre, just great. Nesta and Cassian, I mean, all the characters, everyone's favorites. I love them all. It is about a girl who is suffering in a village. She was once very rich, but due to debt collectors, her father lost everything. She lost her mother. Unfortunately, her mother died of an illness, and she has to be like the breadwinner for her and her two sisters and her father. And then one day she accidentally kills a wolf, and turns out that it's actually a fairy. And then a fairy from the spring court comes, and he basically comes to collect his debt by taking Pharaoh with him. There's a helicopter. Helicopter. So she travels with this fairy. She has to live with him, not other added extra costs. She just has to live with him. And he hopes that, you know, she would fall in love with him. Unfortunately, this takes a turn for the worst in the next few books, and this fairy becomes a very depressing, sappy person. Fairy. Fae? Something like that. But overall, these books are just such an amazing read. I highly recommend reading them. And the next series on my list is, of course, the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. These books are just such an amazing sci-fi story. It follows a cyborg called Cinder, which is based on Cinderella, a farm girl called Scarlet, which is based on Red Riding Hood, tech guru Chris, which is based on, what's her name, Rapunzel, and then Winter, which is she's just a princess, but she's got very powerful manipulation abilities, and she's based on Snow White. And these four group together in each and every book, and they are trying to save Earth from the rule of Luna. And Luna is the moon, obviously, but it's inhabited by a ruthless queen, and a queen that just wants to rule Earth, but unfortunately she wants to kill everyone. It seems to me she wants to kill everyone on Earth, and how they band together and how they are trying to stop, what's her name? Queen Lavana. Yes, how they are trying to stop her from taking over Earth, and the only way she can do this is by marrying the prince. And unfortunately, Cinder is in love with the prince, and the prince is in love with Cinder, and that just it's chaotic. It's amazing. I think Scarlet and Winter was the only books I gave 5 out of 5. The rest were 4 out of 5. The next two books are from a South African writer. His name's Deon Meyer, and the first one is 13 Hours. The next one is Blood Safari. Also both 4 out of 5 stars. Blood Safari is a very action-packed story. It's got gore, it's got action, obviously. It's got guns, for those of you who want to read. The story just follows a bodyguard named Lemma, and he is protecting a woman who saw her brother on TV. But the only downside is her brother has been dead for 20 years. So she calls the police and tells them that she might know the person that they're looking for. It is her brother, but he's been dead for 20 years. And the night after that, she gets attacked. So this bodyguard is going with her to Limpopo. I think it's Limpopo. Or Mpumalanga. And they are searching for clues to find out whether her brother is actually alive. And then the second one is 13 Hours. This is about two girls who are on like a Kontiki tour down from England to South Africa, but they are from America. And they see something they are not supposed to see. And unfortunately, one of the girls, they recorded on their camera. And the other girl confronts this person. And some of the rangers on the Kontiki tour start a hunt so they can find the cameras from these girls. One of the girls ends up dead. That's not a spoiler. It's in the beginning of it's in the beginning of the book. And then we follow this detective who is assigned to find this American girl, and she's a very high up American girl. She's very important, and his job's on the line. Everything is on the line if he does not save this girl from impending doom and save this girl from the clutches of death. Then the second last book that I really enjoyed was After the Rain by Natalia Gomez. This book follows two characters, and both of them are involved in, not involved, but they are caught up in the Leicester bombings in 20-something. 2010 or 2016? I really cannot remember. But how their different trauma is played out, and how the one deals with the trauma on a certain level and the other one deals with the trauma on another level. It was just such a unique book to read that I thought, wow, You know, when you're involved in something as traumatic, you don't always think about stuff like that. You think, oh, they're fine, you know, because they're walking upright. But the girl, Alice, she has anxiety and she cannot be around a large crowd, otherwise she gets anxiety attacks. And the guy, I can't remember his name, he lost 2 of his legs, and he's a very outgoing he's a very outgoing, sporty kind of person. So the moment he lost his legs, it feels like he lost a part of himself, and how he's trying to deal with that trauma of going through that. I did not think I was going to enjoy this book this much. I merely picked it up because I had nothing else to read and I didn't want to read a series, and this book just blew me away. It's really a nice book to pick up if you want to learn more about how people deal with trauma and how they overcome their trauma. And of course, the last book that I read was The Ghost Bride by Yan Se Chu. This is a historical fiction and it's about a girl in Malaysia. There's also a Netflix show about it, but from the 3 episodes that I've watched. So this story follows Li Lan and her father and her, almost like her caretaker. They were very rich, but unfortunately their financial stability fell away and they were poor at the start of the book. And we learned that Li Lan was engaged to one of the wealthier people's sons, but unfortunately he passed away. So the woman of the wealthy house, she suggests that Li Lan becomes a ghost bride. And what this entails is that Li Lan will stay at the mansion, but she is married to this man in spirit, which means she has to mourn for the rest of her life. She has to wear black. She's not allowed to take anyone else as her husband. It's from Malaysia, so it was quite a different culture to learn from. And then we delve into the story of how she is haunted by this son because he wants her to be his bride and she doesn't want to because she's in love with his cousin. And somewhere along the line, her spirit leaves her body and she has to travel back to her body, but she can't because there's this whole world in death that is really corrupted, and her son, the wealthy son, is part of this corruption, and he has a way of, I don't know, haunting Li Lan so much that she actually leaves her body and she has to try and find her way back to her body through a series of adventures. It's a very confusing tale to tell. As you can see, I struggled, but it was a very nice read. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. If you guys are interested in more bookish content, my social media platforms will be linked down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!